Yo, what's good, Griffin13 here back in the day, and today, guys, there is a brand new DLC car pack available for free to every single player in Forza Motorsport 7. That's right, guys, this DLC car pack costs absolutely nothing, and it is none other than the Hot Wheels car pack, where we got some brand new cars that have come to the game. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to take each of the Hot Wheels cars and take them around the Top Gear test track and see how they do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into it. So the following cars that we are going to be testing today in this Hot Wheels car pack are as follows: the 2012 Hot Wheels Rip Road, the 2011 Hot Wheels Boneshaker, the 2005 Hot Wheels Ford Mustang, the 1970 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 50th Anniversary Original Version. Now, the reason why it says Original Version is you guys actually notice that the design on this car is different than the design that's found on the Mustang, or the Boneshaker, or the Rip Rod, or the Twin Mill, which we'll get to here in just a little bit. But it actually has the original design that was put on the Hot Wheels car when it was originally released. So that's actually pretty cool. I really like that. After that, we have the 1969 Hot Wheels Twin Mill, the 1969 Hot Wheels Chevrolet Camaro Super Sport Coupe 50th Anniversary Original Version, and finally we have the 1963 Hot Wheels Volkswagen Beetle 50th Anniversary Original Version. But let's go ahead and kick things off with the 2012 Hot Wheels Rip Rod. So starting things off with the Rip Rod, we have a very slow, very kind of unique car, I guess. It's kind of like a side-by-side, except it's a single-seater sort of deal, and it only has one gear, and its top speed is just under 100 miles an hour, and it reaches the top end of that first gear very quickly, and the sound of the engine is just god-awful. Like, I mean, just listen to this. It's like, as soon as you get past, like, the 8,000 RPM range, oh my god, it's just constant. And, you know, we haven't reached our top speed yet. Like, we're right now still climbing. We're at, like, 98. We almost hit 99 there. We could probably actually go a little bit over 100 top speed-wise. But this car is kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying, but that's why upgrades are in the game. So let's actually go ahead and see how this thing does upgraded. So here is an upgraded version of the Hot Wheels Rip Rod. I upgraded this one to A-Class, and I love it, guys. I really do. I think that this car handles remarkably well. Now, the thing is, though, is this doesn't really have a place in Forza Motorsport 7. Other than the fact that it is a Hot Wheels car, it's essentially a nice little dune buggy that we can't really even drive in the sand until we actually see it in Forza Horizon 4. And that's where it's really going to shine, is when we can drive this thing off-road. Now, I did make this kind of an all-wheel drive road tune right here, and it works out pretty damn well. It's actually very nimble, like surprisingly nimble for an all-wheel drive car, I would say. But I guess that's just like the tune that's on here. You know, it's not really stock or anything like that, but it does get quite a bit more speed. As you can see, we almost hit 120 right there on that straightaway. A lot better than just barely making 100. A lot better than just barely making 100. So if you want to use this car at all, essentially you are going to have to find some kind of tune for it. You cannot use it stock, because the stock version is just an absolute atrocity. I mean, what on earth are you going to do with a one-gear car that can go maybe 100 miles per hour? And something that looks like this overall, yeah, it shouldn't even exist. It really, really shouldn't even exist. Also, this thing looks like a dick. So up next, what we have is we have the Hot Wheels Boneshaker, which is drivable, and I feel like some tuning could make this into a halfway decent racing car. However, though, I think where it's going to really shine is it's going to be in drag racing. I mean, just look at those tires, guys. The tires on this thing are absolutely incredible. The other place it's going to shine is maybe in drifting, because it does want to get sideways quite a bit here, and it's relatively easy to control drifting it through that corner. And we don't have drift suspension on or anything like that. You know, it's just halfway decent as a drift car already. But, of course, I still think drag is where it's really going to shine. You know, just because of those tires, man. They are absolutely freaking massive. They just scream drag strip car. Of course, though, the Hot Wheels Boneshaker is essentially a Ford 5-window coupe that has been chopped. Well, it's actually a 5-window truck, not a coupe. But that's beside the point there. but it's been chopped, slammed, had all the goodies put on it, and then somebody decided, let's throw a giant freaking skull on the front of this thing. That's definitely what this car needs. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the skull, although the way that they did it this time around with the gold accent on it, I really think it actually works out. Not too bad. So up next, what we have is we have the 2005 Hot Wheels Ford Mustang, which I have never driven until today. I've had this car in Forza Horizon 3 for several months now, and I've just never even thought about driving it or picking it up, and I'm quite surprised about how well this thing handles. It feels essentially like what a modern muscle race car feels like, which I mean I guess is understandable considering the fact it's got that massive diffuser, that amazing rear spoiler, and it's got that huge front splitter on the front. I mean, it's just, holy crap, this thing actually handles quite well, and I can see myself using this as an actual race car. I can also see this being halfway decent in like drift events as well if it gets drift suspension, because it is a Ford Mustang. It's not an over-the-top tuned Ford Mustang, so I feel like if it does get drift suspension, players will be able to make it into a relatively easy drift car. And then of course, because it is a modern muscle car, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of players also using this as a drag car. But honestly, I'm really quite pleasantly surprised with this. As you guys know, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of muscle cars in general, usually because of the way they handle. But this thing handles like a dream. I'm actually really appreciative of it. I think it looks fantastic. You know, it's got enough modifications on here that, yeah, when you look at it, you're like, yeah, that's probably a Hot Wheels car. But when you drive it, you're like, wow, that's actually really quite surprising. So up next, what we have is we have the 1970 Hot Wheels Chevrolet Corvette 50th Anniversary Original Version Edition. And honestly, guys, this car feels quite a bit like driving a regular Corvette. It's slidey, it's got a lot of body roll to it, you know. It's really nothing to be super impressed about. It feels like a Corvette that got a little bit of a power boost, because this car did get a power boost of almost 100 horsepower, but not quite, and that's really all it feels. As you guys are driving along, you'll notice it's got pretty significant amount of body roll. It's relatively responsive, but when you get into the corners, if you brake a little bit late, I can definitely see you getting a little bit of sliding action. As you guys will actually see right here, taking off, it's not like super responsive. Considering the fact it's got 460 horsepower, I would almost feel like this car would want to drift just a little bit, but it really doesn't unless you're under like heavy braking. You know, when you have the power on, it actually feels like it's able to pull that grip up, which is something that's kind of interesting, and I don't really see that in a whole lot of cars. But yeah, overall, this car feels kind of heavy, kind of sluggish. I mean, it's 460 horsepower Corvette. I think the stock one is 470, so it got about a power boost of almost 90 horsepower. It's nothing really too impressive. I love the design on it, though. I like how it's got this nice little Americana design, especially right on time for election day. If you guys didn't vote, well, that kind of sucks. You should have got out and voted. But yeah, I like this car overall. I think it's going to make a great addition to the game, but it definitely could use a few more modifications and a tune. And up next, what we have is we have the Hot Wheels Twin Mill, which, as you guys can tell just from watching this car is a little bit of a handful. It is extremely difficult to control. Oh my god, we're flipping. Oh dear lord, we're flipping. Yeah, yeah, that happened. But as you guys can tell, this thing is a 1400 horsepower twin V8 engined beast. It is just a monster, and there's nothing to counteract all the weight from the engine. The rear wheels, there's nothing at all to keep them down on the ground. Absolutely nothing. There is no downforce, and there is no weight, not even like a trunk, some seats or anything like that. You are the downforce weight. That's basically what you're in the cockpit for. I mean, this thing is just crazy. Look at this. Look at this. Just 58 miles an hour. This thing is just wanting to slide all over the place. It is ridiculous. Just, oh my god, all the wheel spin. And then you try and brake, and oh my god, it's just... I knew this thing was not going to have a good time here at the Top Gear test track. But it is a lot of fun. This car won't really have a good time anywhere. I mean, of course we're using we're not using traction control or stability control, but we haven't been using it for any of the other cars either. So it's just, this thing is crazy. I don't understand. Oh my god, it's just ridiculous. This thing is an absolute crazy machine. That's all I can say. That is all I can say. So up next, what we have is we have the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Hot Wheels 50th Anniversary Original Version. And honestly, guys, this thing handles so much better than that Corvette that we were using earlier. You know, it has about the same amount of horsepower. This has 460 horsepower, where original 1969 Chevrolet Camaro in this game has, I think it's about 375. So it gets about the same power increase that the Corvette did. And honestly, this thing handles just so much better. I mean, it still has quite a bit of body roll, as you guys can tell right there. But overall, though, this thing takes the corners so much easier, so much nicer, so much smoother. I feel like there's maybe been something done to the suspension as well as the engine that helps it to, you know, just sort of grip that much better. I'm not sure if the tires on this car are actually considered to be race spec or not. That might be something interesting for us to go ahead and check really quickly. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so right now we're sitting here in the tire compounds, and if we go ahead and take a look, right now we are sitting at a stock B528, and if we go ahead and take a look at the race tire compound, we actually go up to B575. So no, unfortunately, they're not race tires, but they do look kind of cool. They get that nice little red stripe in there, so I guess that's a bonus. But this car handled like it had some tire increases. I don't really know how, but did not feel that bad at all. Didn't feel that bad at all. So then finally we come to our final Hot Wheels car, and it is the Hot Wheels Volkswagen Beetle Hot Wheels 50th Anniversary Original Version. And guys, this thing is very nimble, and it's sprightly. That's the best way that I could put this. It kind of follows along the same pattern that we saw with the Corvette and the Camaro, which are cars that are really strictly, essentially, manufacturer cars with a little bit of a power increase. As this Volkswagen Beetle essentially just got another 100 horsepower. Same with the Corvette, same with the Camaro. I also feel like maybe it's got a nice little tune on there, something like that, a little something special. But this car has a whopping total of 165 horsepower, which is 125 more horsepower from stock. So this car actually did get the biggest power increase, but it really needed it, because 40 horsepower is nothing. That is absolutely nothing. There are lawnmowers with a lot more power than that, and that's crazy. But this car is still amazing for one very important reason. It's purple! Look at it, it's purple. I love this shade of purple. This is my purple right here. I like this a lot. All of this purple gets me going. It really does. I love it. I love it. So but anyway though, that's where we're going to go and wrap things up for today. Leave a comment down below and let me know which car is your favorite out of this car pack. Mine actually has to be this Hot Wheels Ford Mustang. I think that I like this one the best. It handles so nicely on the track. It feels like an actual race car. I really do appreciate that. I really like how this car handled, and it was quite a surprise for me. Second place would probably be the Boneshaker, and if we're going based on stock, the Rip Road, that's way down at the bottom. But once you go ahead and get that thing upgraded, it is a lot better. But like I said, that's where we're going to go and wrap things up for today. If you guys want to, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at twitter.com/Garrett413 and Instagram.com/Garrett413. And if you guys like this video, go and make sure to hit that like button down below for us, because you guys already know your support is so greatly appreciated. And make sure to subscribe for more videos coming out all the time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out. Bye.